What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day, another episode of The Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30NSG, and on today's show, we're going to talk about, we're waiting for the Assassin's Creed Shadow embargo to lift, so we're going to watch a Assassin's Creed Shadow review. We're going to watch MLB The Show review is out today. We're going to watch Sea of Thieves Season 15, let you guys know what's in that. We're going to talk about Assassin's Creed or Ubisoft reportedly doing an anti-harassment plan in place of Assassin's Creed Shadow developers. We're also going to talk about Saber Interactive CEO says Saints Row had to die because the games were too expensive. So if you guys like this, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. We just cover news stories, watch videos, have conversations. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. What's going on, Worlds? Big Mo, Nate, Robert, or I'm sorry, Jones. I always call you Jones. Roic, Sarge, Sin, Argus, Water Bear, Wonder Rose. Welcome, welcome. What's going on, Roic? Drumman, what's going on? Got up about 2 hours ago. Haven't done much of in my day today. Let's start off with a quick video. It's about a 4-minute video. People, this game's been out for what, 7 years? 6 years, right? Sea of Thieves. They're in Season 15. Okay, Season 15. These are things that are coming into the actual the season. So let's check this out.
With Sea of Thieves Season 15, we are going wild. There's terrifying encounters with ancient Megalodon, big changes for the Hunter's Call, and a menagerie of new creatures to find throughout the seas. So grab your gear and get ready to go on the hunt as we track down everything coming in Sea of...
This is such a beautiful game. It's such a love-hate relationship. Like, people love it, but they also hate it at the same time because they just want to play the game and they don't want to be like, it's always the PvP thing, and everyone always comes in and says, "This is Sea of Thieves, not Sea of Friends," right? But, they obviously added a Safer Seas mode, so you can do all this stuff that they're going to tell you in Safer Seas, just diminished XP.
Sea of Thieves Season 15, Wild Things. Setting sail across the waves just got a whole lot more dangerous, as 2 new ancient Megalodon have...
Dude, I still have never seen, right, and I have like 400 hours, I think, something like that. I have like 400 hours, and I've never, ever seen the white shark.
Made their way to the Sea of Thieves. Pirates can now encounter the feared Red Maw, a red-hot foe that can set your ship alight with a single bite.
Dude, that's not cool. One of the Megalodons now has fire when it bites you? Jesus.
Arbiter of Heat can also supercharge the fire that burns at its core, and then release it as a devastating explosion.
Done. So that whole ship is done.
Keeping your distance is
if you have idiot crew, done.
Recommended. And then there's the Barnacle Dread. It uses the coral plates that cover its body as armor, which you'll need to blast away with cannon fire to have any hope of defeating this formidable beast. Let it get too close, and its electrifying bite will not only do massive damage to your ship, but it'll also spawn electric ocean crawlers on your deck. Shocking behavior. If there's one group who knows about taking on big fish, it's the Hunter's Call. And in Season 15, you can set sail as their emissary, flying the flag as their representative, and building your reputation with them at an increased rate. You can now also choose to embark on raid voyages on behalf of the Hunter's Call. Completing these voyages will net you a fine haul of Hunter's Call specific loot, helping you earn even more.
When stuff like this gets added to the game, so the people that are always like the top tier, they're going to go for this stuff, right? So if you're a person that's never done one of the other raids, that's when you start doing the other raids, because they won't be going for that. They'll just be doing this because they're bored of the other one right now.
More reputation. This means there's all new rewards to unlock too, allowing you to embrace the thrill of the hunt in all of your adventures. But that's not all. You can also take on new voyages from the Hunter's Call to go in search of treasured fish. Follow the Hunter's map and look out for the telltale signs of bubbles on the surface of the water. Then cast off and get ready for a fight as you reel in the biggest fish you've ever seen. Just make sure to keep an eye out for any jealous anglers hoping to pinch your catch.
Great. Now people are coming after you because of your fish.
And later in the season, there's even more to come, with the addition of wild boars and their treasure-laden wallows. New throwable hunting.
Why? I mean, I get why, right? Like short term, they're adding boars and maybe different animals into the world, which gives more content. But it almost makes me feel, and I said this years and years and years ago when I first started playing, I feel like this is an MMO waiting to happen. Like, they could just turn this into an MMO. Do you know what I mean? All they have to do is just turn on a switch, give your own personal island, like what World of Warcraft's doing now with your own homes. Okay, yeah, I understand you have your ship, but just add another layer. Go on adventures, like go to a hub, bring people in, go on a mission, have a little... They have it all there, but it's just a smaller server. It'd be interesting to see what happens in the future with this.
Spears. A variety of ambient wildlife that will make the world...
Like, they're bringing the world alive more with ambient life.
Feel more alive than ever before. And the introduction of voyages for the Hunter's Call that'll send you across the waves to track down mighty Megalodon. And of course, a new season means you've got 100 levels of incredible rewards to unlock, with a variety of stunning items for both your ship and pirate. With these rewards, you can answer the call of the sea and set forth with the confidence of a fearless hunter. And there's even more up for grabs with the Plunder Pass, available as an optional purchase. You can unlock the stylings of a long-gone civilization with the Dynasty of the Deep.
It would almost make it, if you make it an MMO, it would almost make it a little bit more appealing for people to buy stuff for the cosmetics and whatnot, so you can show it off. You know what I mean?
Ship collection and clothing. Not only that, there are also new items to unlock from completing new commendations and milestones too. So you can proudly display the treasured rewards of your accomplishments for all to see. So get ready to answer the call of the wild. Uncover a treasure trove of rewards. And battle fearsome sea monsters. As you embrace your inner hunter in Sea of Thieves Season 15, Wild Things.
Wait a minute. Free update Sea of Thieves February 20th. We're in March. Why is this not... Did I miss this? Oh, this came out 1 month ago. I didn't even know that. I was like, wait a minute. I'm confused. So this has been out already for a month. Interesting. I didn't even know that. All right. Well, I completely missed that. We've been playing Avowed, I guess. That game is a blast to play. But it's just so daunting when you go in and you're like, I got you? You got me with what? I literally put that in my thing today by myself. It just showed up in my feed. All right. Let's talk about Saber Interactive. I got Avowed, yeah. It's official. You've been in Avowed for a month. Yeah, it's been 1 full month. And this is why I don't play really long games, because it takes so long for me to play, because I don't play a lot of games when I'm not streaming. That's why Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is like literally my game time. And that's still above average for most people that play games, right? Because I play 3, 6, 9, maybe 11 hours a week. Travis says, wait. Season 15. Yet Suicide Squad didn't even get past Season 3. I mean, technically they got season 4, didn't they? There was season 0, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there was 4. There was 4 seasons. I believe there was. All right. Saber Interactive CEO says Saints Row had to die because the games were too expensive. The days of throwing money at games and other GTAs of the world is over. Is it, though? Does it have to be, though? Do you have to be so ambitious to try to compete with GTA? You can't just make a smaller game? Like, why do you have to put $300 million into a game, right? If you guys like what I do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Okay? So Saber Interactive CEO says Saints Row had to die because the games were too expensive. The days of throwing money at games and other GTAs of the world is over. Okay? That looks like Dr. Disrespect there. Saber Interactive Matthew Karch has given his 2 cents. An apparent quick death of Saints Row franchise, saying the games got too expensive and lacked direction. Now, I don't know the budget, but I can tell you it did lack direction. Lots of games are losing the direction, the identity of what it was. We all knew like Saints Row. A lot of people I think liked Saints Row more than Grand Theft Auto, right? I'm not saying it's a huge amount of people, but a lot of people like that style a little bit better than Grand Theft Auto. A little bit more story driven, a little bit more parody, you know, kind of the just fun humor. But then they lost it along the way. They went over the edge and became too over like ridiculous. Okay, they said they were so expensive. Okay, they were so expensive for what they were. They didn't know what they wanted to were building. They didn't have any real direction. It couldn't last, and so you're going to fund them for the next game after that disaster. The last one failed massively, so much so that it was because of the writing. It was because of the stuff that was happening. You need writing in a game with story, right? If it's just a fun game, like look, Goat Simulator is more popular than Saints Row. There's no story in Goat Simulator. It's literally just go around and do silly things, right? He was famously referencing the 2002 Saints Row reboot, which received mixed reviews and did not meet the full expectations and left the fans partially polarized. According to the publisher, Deep Silver, then parent company Embracer, which subsequently moved Violation from Deep Silver to Gearbox before closing the studio entirely in August of 2023. God, was that long ago? It would be nice if any ideal world that for everyone to have a job, Karsh added, but games with 9-figure budgets are making 8 figures in revenue and dooming a lot of developers. The days of throwing money at the games, other than maybe a GTA in the world, is over, Karch said. It's over. It's the business needs to mature. If it doesn't, the whole business is in trouble. Unfortunately, this means layoffs. There was also means that when Karch and Saber's CEO, folks of Violation, also worked under Embracer together, the Saints Row IP, as well as the Violation Red Faction series, are now in the hands of Embracer-owned. Also, Saber was also sold off in March of 2024 in a deal valued as just shy of $250 million. Shortly after, Deep Silver assured the fans that Saints Row and Red Faction would be live on, and so far we've yet to see any evidence of that. Well, literally, it was a couple of years ago. You're not making another Saints Row anytime soon, especially since the last Saints Row bombed miserably. Like, it was terrible. Okay, it was like before Concord came out, right? Saints Row was the Concord, right? There's been so many games since that game came out that have been absolutely horrendous, that underperformed and didn't make money, right? We have Veilguard, we have Skull and Bones, we have Star Wars Outlaws, we had Suicide Squad. Like, it's amazing. Amazing. All of these games that have come out since Saints Row. Okay, Saints Row came out, we're like, nothing can be worse than Saints Row. And then we're like, hold my beer. It's amazing to me that a lot of these developers, I don't know why they take these IPs and franchises and kind of change them in a direction where they don't have an identity. Even though Call of Duty right now is still one of the most popular games on the planet Earth, it's lost its identity, right? Battlefield, or as Krebsy says, Betafield, right? Betafield has lost its identity. They don't know what they want with these games anymore, with these franchises anymore, right? They're making stupid decisions Hasbro, instead of making a Transformers game, they're putting them in a kart racing game, right? Instead of making this game, they make an RTS or Lord of the Rings game, they make a little Shire game. Like, these people don't know what to do with franchises that succeeded ahead of them. And instead, they just make dumb, lazy portions of these games from these developers, and then they wonder why. They're like, I don't understand. Why didn't Saints Row sell? I don't know. Maybe because if you look at the other Saints Row and what it was, and then what it became, and then what it became after that, and the next one, like the third one was like the end for me. The fourth one came out not so good, and then they did a reboot. And I didn't even care about this. It looked horrible. We watched review after review on this, and it was almost like they didn't even finish the game, right? So hopefully, someone with a brain gets a hold of these franchises and actually does something well in the future. But until that day, we're going to get articles like this saying that these games are over. Look, I love that he says it. He says other than GTA, right? I guarantee you there's a company right now, someone that's like 5 people in the studio making a game, okay, working their asses off and putting it out. It's nowhere near 100 million, 200 million, 300 million, and it will be the next big game that comes out. And people are like, oh my God, I can't believe a game like this exists. How did they do it? And yet these big companies can't do it. It's because when you're small and independent, you become creative because your back's against the wall. But when you're big corporations and you have these IPs and you have no idea what you're doing because leadership's bad, management's bad, all of these things are bad, okay? You don't know what you're doing. You don't. Because someone handed you an IP that was big and successful, but the people that are creating their own are like caring for it. It's like Dr. Evil, petting his cat, right? They care for it because it's their baby, right? In another example, look at George Lucas, what he did with Star Wars. And then look at what people did with Star Wars after he got rid of it, right? It's no longer his. It's not theirs. They don't understand. They don't understand how to cherish it and care for it. They just throw it out and go, oh, it's going to make a shit ton of money for us, right? Look at Marvel when it was under by themselves and they made their studio and then it got bought by Disney and they're like, yeah, let's just keep doing that. And now it's diminishing returns, right? Because they don't know how to cherish things. They don't know how to care for things. Don't give any of these corporations your cat or dog to watch for the weekend because they won't make it, right? They won't make it. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe. And if you like what I do, check out some of our other videos. Let me know what you guys think about IPs like Saints Row, corporations that take over big IPs and just don't know what they're doing or the identity that they have in their hands. Again, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. All right, let me see what you guys are saying up here. Sarge says, remember, kids, if a suit makes bad decisions and overspends, don't worry. The answer is to solve the problem is just to lay off the studio. Problem solved. Yeah. I mean, they're like, we lost a lot of money. What are we going to do? Well, let's just get rid of everybody. Oh, sounds good. It's almost like there's a body on the ground, and all they do is just take the rug and cover it, right? Even though there's a big lump there, they're like, no one will see it. Don't worry about it. Player says, Call of Duty lost its identity since the Xbox 360 days, but it's making more money than ever did in the 360 generation. Yeah, but what's the price of that, player? And sure, if you're a corporation and you're going for the Call of Duty has made more money ever before. It was about like about 6 copies ago. Since then, since they added it and made it a battle royale and they made microtransactions and Nicki Minaj is in there with monkey gloves and whatnot, sure, they've made a game and they sold that game, and that game is broke, buggy, and unfinished when it comes out. People hate it. It's sold less, but people are paying more for it. So is it more popular? Sure. And if they want to keep chasing the money instead of caring for the thing and cherishing for it, right, you could make the quick cash off of it. But if you let the tree grow and it grows more apples and fruit off the tree, then you could just constantly pull from that tree instead of just literally chopping the tree down and saying, hey, I got all the apples, and move away from it, right? That's the problem. These companies and corporations don't understand what they have, and they just keep destroying the IPs little by little, right? And from the outside, you'd be like, well, they're making all this money, so they don't really care. Yeah, but they're hurting the brand. They're hurting the identity of the actual game that's making them the money. Travis says, Mike, as someone who's also excited for Saints Row reboot, as soon as I saw the dude with the mask, it does light up. I was like, nope. Yeah, it was bad. The writing was terrible in that game. Drummond says the new Mafia game would be a good one. Day, hopefully. So if you also think of such a game in comparison to the other games in this genre, let's go on PlayStation 5. PS5 Blow says, sup, fearmongers. COD is making that money now. It was making the money before. It has less people now, but it's still making the money, right? Let's see. I don't remember BO6 being broke and buggy, but I do get what you're saying. When I say broke and buggy, I'm talking about the multiplayer and the matchmaking and other things like that, Mo. Single player campaign, fine. Let me bring up the articles of people leaving Call of Duty, and less people are playing Call of Duty. Hold on a second. Call of Duty, particularly Black Ops 6, has experienced significant drop-off player count on Steam, and some reports indicating decline of nearly 80% of its peak. No other Call of Duty. Now, me and Stars talk about this all the time. That's because there's a lot of games out there. People play the game and put it down. That's not what Call of Duty is. Call of Duty is a game that you play the campaign and you constantly play the multiplayer. But people don't want to play the multiplayer anymore. Why? No, see, this is a misconception, right? Or misconception. Since Microsoft purchased it, Black Ops 6 was the most played game that they've had, right? It's a 60% up or whatever, right? But not overall in the franchise. El Nini says Saints Row 1 and 2 were amazing. The old Saints Row, I remember when the first Saints Row came out, I was like, man, this is so good. I was like, this is a GTA competitor. But then they also saw what Saints Row was. And when they went from 1 to 2, they went, let's not copy GTA. Let's make it our own. And they did. They made it their own. And then they turned a corner, right, from 2 to 3, and then massively from 3 to 4. 1 and 2 were like the most grounded. And then it went to 3, and you could use like sparkling dildos and whatever else to do in the game. And I was just like, all right, this is fun. But it became less fun because it went over the edge. Again, player, you're taking a snapshot of a moment. I'm talking about the brand in general. The brand is in general. You could move a goalpost, right, and put it wherever you want and say, well, it's the number one Call of Duty since Microsoft bought it. It's the number one Call of Duty this month. It's the number one played system. The franchise itself, okay, is in worse shape it was now than it was 5 years ago. More players in the gaming space, and yet less people are playing Call of Duty. Why? Because more games? Because people are just done with Call of Duty? Because Call of Duty is no longer Call of Duty and it's a Battle Royale competitor? Nate says, this is like WWE 2K25. Fun as shit, but the Island Online mode crashes a lot, and it takes a long time to get matches, and the rest of the game works fine. Right. But still, the product itself, Nate, right, is not working completely. If you're a business and you put stuff in your game, and a part of it doesn't work, there's a problem there. Altered says, Travis, I don't blame you. I knew that the game was and paid $10 and enjoyed my time in Saints Row reboot, but the story was so bad that I just skipped every cinematic. That if you're a developer, Altered, and you're making a game like that, and people are just skip, I think they've failed there, right? They failed as a business to make a game and then tell you, hey, people like the game that we're making, because they could have just not wasted their time on making the story and just made it Goat Simulator. Franchise died after 2. Oh, you're talking about Saints Row, Mo? 1 and 2 were great. 1 and 2 were fantastic. 3 was okay. 4 was done. And then the reboot was absolutely done. Sarge says a sparkling dildo was the best weapon. OP. Yeah. Silver says, I stopped playing Call of Duty multiplayer because the game really doesn't want you to play multiplayer. It wants you to play Warzone. Right? See, when I make my points and views, I'm not talking about it like I haven't bought a Call of Duty in 14 years, right? For me, the franchise is dead. I know the franchise is not dead, but I can look, right, and see what the player base is, and they can tell you all the articles they want, but you know that the brand is damaged. The brand is damaged. People looked at Star Wars when it came out in 2019, the last movie came out, and they're like, well, it made $1 billion, so it's good. Go to the toy store now. Go to the toy store now. How many toys do you see on the shelf? You see them all on the shelf because no one's buying it. The brand is damaged. And this is what companies are doing with brands in the video game space. PS5 Blows says WWE never works online. I haven't bought in 2 years. Travis says WWE 20K25 or 2K25 is my first regret. 2025, enough said. Really not good, huh? I thought it was the best one. Not you saying this, Travis. I thought the reviewers said this is the best one in years. Snapshot in years. Yeah. The best one was like 10 years ago, but this is the best one in the last 5 years. Snapshot. Looks great. Waterbear says, skipping cutscenes in the story-driven game is wild. Means the story element's trash. Right. That's a great review right there. Yeah. In fairness, though, that's how I am with any game made by Bethesda. I try to skip the bugs, and it won't let me. Saints Row 2 is so good. Saints Row 1 and 2 is so good. Yeah. Goat Simulator is way better. More than just weaponry. You lick stuff. Yeah, it's just a fun game, right? But that's what I'm saying, Z. If you're going to make a game, right? If you guys have never played Goat Simulator, I don't really play it a lot, but I watch my son play it. He loves it. They have a blast, okay? But when he plays it, I was like, this is like Grand Theft Auto or Saints Row, but with a goat. Right? There's no story. It's just going around. There's like little things that you have to do and complete quests and stuff like that. But there's no like deep, rich story that you're playing with the game. You're just playing the game and it's fun. Right? And if you're making that game, well, then that's a successful game. If you're making a story-driven game and you're playing it like that game, well, then you failed. Altern says, yeah, the open world activity and the missions were good, driving the way, the better customizations, but the story structure, the main plot, and removing some of the mechanics really killed it for Saints Row 3 was better. Crowded House says, Call of Duty. we'll give 3 points. 3 points for Crowded. He did a poopy joke, so it's a dad joke, poopy joke. We'll give you 3 points. Nate says PS5 blows. It's funny, but it also gets frustrating when you got to continue starting over in the middle of the match and about to win and it crashes. That would be removed from machine and never play again. And if it was early enough, I would just go return it. Player says 30. I don't think we should use Steam numbers for an engagement that's only PC. The top most played games on Xbox and PC is far different than Steam and Concur. Here's the difference, right? I agree that we shouldn't use it as the one-all be-all number. But you can't just ignore the Steam number, right? If you're going to bring up numbers and you have no imaginary number to talk about, you don't know what the player base is, right? A number that says number one played game on PlayStation, but you don't know how many players is not a stat. But knowing the data from Steam, okay, and you know that there's 1.9 million people playing video games on PC, and you know that 200,000 people are playing concurrently, and you know about 5 million people bought the game, and if there's only 30,000 people playing, that's a barometer to tell you what the actual player base is in the thing. Sure, you could have more players on PlayStation, you could have more players on Xbox. That doesn't say that the game itself or the brand itself is diminishing because less players are playing. If all the same people were playing on Xbox and all the same people were playing on PlayStation and all the people that were playing on PlayStation or PC are down, then it's a lower number overall for Call of Duty over the years. You see what I'm saying? If you had 1 million people here, 1 million people here, and 1 million people here for all Call of Duties across the board, but this year Call of Duty on this platform is dramatically down, then the statement would stand true. Less people are playing Call of Duty. You can't just cherry pick and go, well, yeah, that's just Steam. And Steam, like, the number's the number. Consoles, there's only 70 million, right? 70 million PlayStations out there, and the average game that sells for them is like 5 million out of 70. Xbox got 30 million units. They sell like 2 million units, right? They sell usually half of what PlayStation sells for games that are coming out. And then there's PC, what usually sells double what they're selling. Why? Because they have a bigger player base. Sarge says, just look at the Activision fiscal reports. They show that COD isn't engaging like it did, not saying it's done, just saying it's not downward trend. That's exactly right. El Nini says, I stopped watching Star Wars after Kathleen Kennedy told me the Force was female. It's a good time to stop. Yeah. PS5 Blow says, reviewers didn't play online and get the real experience. Let's see. Ron says, I like Saints Row 2022. There, I said it. Do you feel better? Do you feel better, Ron? Ron feels like he's oh, man, what a weight. What a weight staying off my chest. Hi, I'm Ron Slusher, and I liked Saints Row 2022. I feel better. I mean, you can like the game, and in the same sense, it's still a shit game. So much so, they sold and closed the studio down. Mo says, I can't stand Goat Sim. I think I found what you don't like, Mo. You don't like open-ended, open-world games. You don't like those. You like open-world games, but you need structure. I think that's why you don't like Grand Theft Auto, and I think that's why you don't like Goat Sim. Crowded House says, which Call of Duty was the start with the storming in the beach? That one was great. That was Call of Duty 2? I think it was 2. Come on, Kraken. He said duty. Yeah. Yeah, fart noises. The clip sounds that clapping after a pro made a putt was playing on PGA for a minute. Best golf game yet. Didn't they just put a game on, I think they put the Masters, PGA Masters on Game Pass the other day. 33 Immortals is out. Did it come out yet? Is it early access or is it out now? Ron says Call of Duty. Oh, he one-upped it. We'll give 3 points to Ron. Ron with the Call of Duty. Okay. I meant that the top most played games on Steam currently is far different than the top 20 most played games on console. Sure, player, but you're missing the point. You're missing the point. The total player base of Call of Duty is lower across the entire gaming space. Not cherry-picking PlayStation, not cherry-picking Xbox. The entire space of games, Call of Duty is lower. Right? The same sentence, you could say it's the most engaging game on Xbox. Great. They have 1.6 billion less than what the PC player base potentially has. And I'm not saying 1.9 billion people are playing Call of Duty. That's the biggest potential of people that can buy your game right now is on PC. These are facts. Your second one without mobile is PlayStation. 1.9 billion people can play a game on PlayStation on PC. 70 million people, 75 million people can play on PlayStation, and 38 to 40 million people can play on Xbox. Early access? Okay. Yeah, PGA's Masters on Game Pass, EA Sports is in the game. Robert Jones says Steam numbers suck, but it's the only metric we have to go on. Right. I also love how people looked at, we'll take a game like Helldivers, right? Or Black Myth Wukong. When people look at and say, oh, Black Myth Wukong is selling well, and we don't know the numbers on PlayStation, but we do know the numbers on PC, and it sold like 8 million at that time, right? And same with Helldivers. Helldiver was a 2-to-1 ratio on PC compared to PlayStation. Miraculously, PlayStation fans use those numbers to say, hey, yeah, PlayStation, we got a good game here. But great. But you don't know the numbers on PlayStation. We estimated because we knew the numbers that were being told on Steam. And when you have 2 points of data and one's giving the number, then you can figure out this one. But if you have 3 points of data and only one's sharing the number, then you don't know what the split is here. Mo says also survival games. I can't do those either. Yeah, so you don't like an Ark. You don't like a lot of games where you get dropped into a map, Minecraft, right? Like that type of stuff, right? You need structure. I get it. I like the open-ended stuff like that. I like Minecraft. I like Ark Survival. I would love, Dune Awakening. That type of stuff is the best. Again, they do not show the number. They show you a list and tell you the top number. They say, for instance, Veilguard was like number 1 at one point. But then we find out that it was only 1.5 million sales total. To show me a list without the numbers means absolutely nothing, player. Means absolutely nothing. If I tell you I'm number 1 stream at 10 o'clock in the morning, but I show you no numbers, right? That could be true. But at the same time, it could be 10 people or 30 people watching me. But I could be the best at 10 o'clock spot, but nobody's really knows me. But 37 people are watching me, but I'm number 1. If you don't know the number, it doesn't matter what they tell you, because between 1 and 2 could be millions of difference, millions of copies different, which it turned out to be when they showed NCAA football. And they said that was number 1, and Veilguard was number 2. But then we know that Veilguard only sold 1.5 million copies. But we know NCAA football sold like 15 million copies. So what's the discrepancy there? But it's the number 1 on PlayStation, or it's the number 1 on Xbox. Again, player, it's a snapshot. They do not tell you the actual numbers. You do not know the numbers between 1 and 2, and 2 and 3, and 3 and 4, unless one of those companies shares their numbers. Mike, what do you think about Naughty Dog comparing their new game to Elden Ring? I made a quick remark when they first showed Intergalactic House, and because you saw her like jumping and running off the rock and hitting the thing, I go, oh, what do we got? Another Souls-like game is what I said. And then now they come out with this. I don't know. I don't know why you would do this as a company. Naughty Dog stands on its own. They make good games, right? People like all the games they came out with. And to come out and say that that Naughty Dog comes out and says it's compared to new Elden Ring is stupid in my opinion, right? You're trying to tell people what your game is without showing them what it is, and all you have to do is show gameplay instead of comparing it. Because now what you're doing is there's twofold here. You're telling people that it's like Elden Ring because Elden Ring sold 25 million copies. Everyone loves Elden Ring except Travis, okay? Like, you're comparing a game that we know nothing about, and you're comparing it to a game that everybody loves, and I think that's just a stupid move to do. All they have to do is come out and show what that game is, and then let us say what the comparison is. Do you know what I'm saying? Because regardless of what they tell us what it is, we're going to look at it and tell you what it's compared to, if they like it or not. I have no idea what I'll do content tomorrow. I don't know what I'm doing for content tomorrow until tomorrow. Mo says Naughty Dog is a half-rated company. I like their games. I like their games, Mo. Also, games doing good now compared to its past are vastly different because of a ballooning budget. Right. Right. All right, let's go to, do we have an update yet on Assassin's Creed? Did the embargo lift? What time does the embargo lift for that? Let's go with, we'll do that before Ubisoft comes out, Assassin's Creed. Let's watch MLB The Show 25 review. We do this every year when they have a review of it. This is from Gaming Bolt. This is MLB The Show's 25 review. If you guys like what I do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. We just cover news stories, have conversations. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as low as $5. All right, here we go.
Every sport has its share of fever and a dedicated audience that swears by it through ups and downs. The same rings true for their video games, whether it's the continued success, even in a relatively off year, for EA Sports FC, the blockbuster NBA 2K series, or the recent PGA Tour 2K, which marked a return to form for the series. And while you could think of baseball as a whole other beast, it's captured the hearts and minds of its followers for decades, spanning Japan, Mexico, and the United States of America.
Time. You need a strikeout, and you need a ball perhaps on the ground for a double play, or get yourself a pop-up, something, but you've got to make swing. And
Just right off the bat, no pun intended, right off the bat. This doesn't look, I mean, visually it looks the exact same as it did in the past couple of years, right? It looks exactly the same as the last couple of years, from the last 3-4 years.
Ground ball, base hit right field. Across is the winning run.
MLB The Show 20.
Do they make the announcements better?
Sony San Diego Studios' premier flagship franchise understands this. In terms of recreating the magic, the
Oh, don't forget. Here's some numbers for you. This is a Sony PlayStation studio, and this game sold better on Xbox than it did on PlayStation itself. Just remember those stats.
atmosphere, the drama, and the rich history that the sport has to offer. Very few titles have been able to match it. This year marks some much-needed improvements and new additions, to say nothing of the incredible animations, but it's still very much an evolutionary upgrade rather than a sweeping revolution. Not that there's anything wrong with that, since its gameplay and presentation are some of the most polished available despite some quirks.
against a guy like this.
Gets a piece and stays alive.
I wouldn't throw him another breaking ball. Try to go again with the fastball.
Yeah, the announcers seem the same though. They seem just as lively to me.
Slightly elevated.
Swings and misses, struck him out. He's 2 outs away.
If you're making the jump from MLB The Show 24, much of this will look familiar.
Right.
Road to the Show returns, this time allowing
Oh, it's a dating simulator? Okay.
players to start from high school, finishing strong in that playoff to hopefully get scouted from a worthwhile college. Dynamic challenges spice things up, introducing new goals to complete for more rewards, including tokens, which are used to upgrade different tools representing your player's various talents. You can also modify the respective attributes in each if you really want to min-max in a specific field. It's a noteworthy addition, and despite not breaking new ground or overhauling things, Road to the Show suffices as a decent career mode. March to October still allows for taking a team, be it underdogs and diamonds in the rough, to fan favorites and rising stars.
What are you diving into first base for? Get your ass down the Banks path.
Though an entire season with high stakes and drama. Diamond Dynasty introduces a new roguelike mode, Diamond Quest, for those keen on even more single-player action. You essentially assemble your squad of players on board with random tiles, take any number of steps, and complete the required challenges.
Nobody's moving there. Nobody moved pitcher grabbed his head and everyone's just turned around and looking at the ball.
Including boss showdowns. Failing means receiving penalties that impact your performance, and you can also earn peanuts to purchase boons. Though it's probably not everyone's cup of tea, I found the mode novel, but after spending dozens of hours grinding Simulated Universe, I would expect a much faster flow.
This one driven deep, way back there.
Nobody's moving.
Gone. We are tied.
Graphics look a little different, like the UI.
Storylines enter Season 3 and focuses on several more legendary African-American players, including James Cool Papa Bell, Wilbur Bullet Joe Rogan, and Norman Turkey Stearns. It doesn't take too long to navigate the various episodes, but it's arguably the highlight of MLB The Show 25. Completing challenges as each legend at different stages of their careers with real-life quotes, live-action footage, and even animated illustrations is a magical experience. You truly gain a new appreciation for the sheer talent and excitement that existed outside of the big leagues at that time.
In, Cool Papa Bell. And that one popped in the air, left field.
Okay, I have a small little feedback. If Tim Kaine was here, I'm gonna just a little feedback.
Tim Kaine walks in with a question so bold. Do gamers know what they want?
What
He's
I like.
told. The crowd says yes, but then starts to fight.
What I
Tim
don't
shakes
like.
his head. Yeah, that sounds about right. Tell me what's good, not what's
I'm
gone
gonna give you just a
wrong.
little
If you just
feedback.
complain, the list gets too long. You say this sucks, but what do you mean?
Okay, so if you're gonna do, again, I didn't play last year's. If you're gonna have announcers in the game, and you're gonna have the old leagues in the game, and you're doing whatever this is right now, the announcer should sound like an old school announcer. Do you see what I'm saying? Like if I'm playing a 1940s era and they're in the baseball uniforms and you're the field and everything like that, but the announcer
And that one popped in the air, left field.
is like it's NBC or CBS Sports or Fox.
Harvey
That's a
squeezes
little detail I would have actually implemented where it made it sound like it was old school radio broadcast type of stuff.
it. One away.
From the outset, jumping in and customizing my preferred control schemes for each aspect of the sports from fielding and batting to pitching and running couldn't have been easier. The plate coverage indicator seemed the best option initially for precisely lining up hits. After extensive failures with that and the timed button presses, I eventually settled on the right analog stick for swings. The feedback is still immediate and extensive with precise data on late and early hits on top of details on preferred pitching spots for the opposition. Finding the right
It could be the same announcer. You just got to put a filter on the thing to make it sound like it's the old school radio.
timing can be challenging, even if a simple bunt is enough to create an opportunity. Still, the sheer amount of outfielders who capably caught my power shots felt a little too high, even on lower difficulties. It wasn't enough to stifle the tension, but the AI is unusually on point more often than I'd like. They're not typically as capable in batting, but maybe it was because I took more comfortability to the meter-based approach. The fact
I
that
don't like the
well-timed
meter.
pitches could still be successfully hit and the key lay in keeping my opponents guessing, at times intentionally pitching early or late, made for some
Right, Kylo. If you're gonna make me feel like I'm going back to that time period, right? They're trying to bring me into that time period, what it's like to play those characters. So just make the announcer, same announcer. Just put that little filter over it.
fun strategizing. Regardless of your approach and control scheme, there's no denying that MLB The Show 25 nails it in terms of atmosphere. The commentary can repeat some lines on occasion. Hello, swinging a ground ball base hit right field, my old friend. However, it still flows naturally, especially in storylines when offering up facts about each player. The excitement of the crowd coupled with the broadcast-style presentation, the electric organ, the choice songs, and the bated breath between each pitch.
Oh, that's another thing I just thought of. The music that plays in the background, if you're playing the old school stuff, is not going to sound like the new stuff. You know what I mean? So the music that plays in the stadium would sound more like an organ, like an old school organ, than it would sound in the new ballpark.
Everything meshes together to create this infectious atmosphere. There's also no denying the sheer tension when it's at the bottom of the ninth, or close enough. The bases are full, or nearly, and you need that one solid.
Hey man, I'll tell you what. regardless, baseball games from where I started to what it is today, fucking amazing. Amazing.
Solid hit to send the crowd home happy. Conversely, missing everything and giving away the run feels about as awful as it would in real life.
Here comes a pitch. Headed towards the corner. Smith on his way over. And it's...
You see what I'm saying? It just seems weird. Here's what it feels like. And again, I know I'm nitpicking on this stuff, right? I'm a huge baseball fan, though. They're not wearing helmets, right? So, again, old school. Look at the crowd. The crowd is wearing suits and bowler hats and stuff like that, right? The women are in dresses. They're all dressed in the period pieces. It looks like it's taking place back in the day. They're not wearing helmets, but the sound design for the bat sounds modern. The announcer sounds modern. Like, make it look and feel like, don't go 60%, go 100%.
caught just in front of the wall.
However, it's somewhat of a shame that the graphics haven't evolved much. Compared side by side to MLB The Show 24, players look pretty much identical, save for some missing facial hair.
Minimal viable
Don't
product.
fix what isn't broken and all that, and the animation quality is still extremely well done.
Of course.
Though, avoid paying too much attention to the facial animations in Road to the Show. Even the stadiums look incredibly detailed, despite a few inaccuracies here and there, but if you've been waiting years for a true jump in visual fidelity...
What the fuck was that? Not only did you
Inaccuracies
not
here
throw
and
the
there,
ball to second
but
to get the double
if you've
play,
been waiting years
but
for a
you
true
threw
jump
it
in
home.
visual fidelity, this ain't it. For what it's worth, this is still a good-looking game, but we're a long way from the series heralded for its earth-shattering fidelity. Despite both long-running complaints, MLB The Show is still the premier baseball series, even if this year's iteration isn't the undisputed king. The unmistakable atmosphere combined with the sound design, signature movements, and details unique to each player, and smooth controls make it worth experiencing, hiccups and all. Maybe not as much for those burned out on last year's iteration or expecting massive changes, but it feels like an essential experience for any baseball fan.
Now, see that? They're in college. Did you hear that sound? Now tell me this, chat. Right? You're making a game where you're in high school, you're in college, they use aluminum bats.
Feels like an essential experience for any baseball fan.
Hear that sound? Now, they'll take the attention to detail for that. But they're like, hey, let's throw in the old leagues and do any sound design whatsoever. They're like, yeah, let's just keep the announcement there the same.
That's ripped. Base hit. Runner on base to start the inning. When you've got the hitter 0-2, you can't...
This is even more mind-boggling. Listen to the announcer. Listen to the announcer. Listen to the fans. Listen to the detail they've done for the lower tier area where you're in high school or college. There's not going to be a lot of people watching you in the stands. Listen to the announcer.
Runner on base to start the inning. When you've got the hitter 0-2, you can't serve one up in the heart of the zone.
He sounds like he's not a professional. He sounds like he's a guy coming up through the league himself, trying to be an announcer, trying to make it to the big leagues. How do you do this? How do you do this in a game where you make this authentic, but not make the other thing authentic?
The sheer love and enthusiasm seen in storylines, which dives into some of the biggest legends of the sport, the robust Road to the Show and March to October, the new Diamond Quest, and much more, all come together into a solid baseball sim with the same solid gameplay that fans love, and are probably sick of. Time will tell if San Diego Studio truly overhauls the formula next year, or sticks to its guns, offering up some of the same quality content with its own hiccups. But, as it stands, MLB The Show 25 does a pretty good job holding down the fort.
Here's the thing. I think you gave it an 8, right? Here's the thing. If you're going... What's their competition? What's MLB's the competition of MLB The Show? Right? Who's their competition? They don't have anybody. They don't have any competition in the baseball ring from MLB. Zero competition. So 22 to 23 and 23 to 24 and 24 to 25, guess what? It's going to look the same. It's going to do the exact same. They're going to do the minimal viable product. Last year they added the women to the league. They didn't say they still had the women in the league, but you could see they had the women in the league, but they didn't use it as a marketing ploy at least that I've seen in the advertisements. Now, obviously, he's not part of the marketing team. This is his own review, right? But they didn't promote that they had women in the league where you could be a woman in the Major League Baseball, which is not possible, by the way. It's not possible. Zero chance. If you're a woman, you will never make it to Major League Baseball unless they literally change the rules of baseball. Because they're not going to give a spot up for someone that can hit, who runs slower and hits not as hard. It's never going to happen. Right? Never going to happen. But that's a completely different conversation. Okay? I love baseball. I used to play all the baseball games, right? I played MLB The Show when it was on PlayStation. I played it when it came to Xbox the first year. We bought the first year, okay? The next year it came to Game Pass. We played it on Game Pass. I love that. But come on. They can do minimal viable product because they don't have any competition. There needs to be another Major League Baseball dominated game that comes into the league and gives them a run for their money. But they won't do it. They won't do it. Why? Because MLB The Show, MLB, is the ones letting them make the game to be the most authentic game possible. Look, it looks good. It looks the same. My little nitpicking there is the announcers. If you're going to make these special events, you did it for college, you did it for high school. Why didn't you do it for the Negro League, right? It doesn't make any sense. All right. Gaming Fire says Xbox Game Pass is disappointing. Do you want to go more in detail? For you, it's disappointing because it doesn't have $90 games that you can pay for. It doesn't have survival games you like. It doesn't have new games that you like. All right, let's go with Ubisoft. The grass and the ground looks bad for 2025 graphics. Golf game, a ground looks better. Well, yeah, here. Let's go look at that, Sarge. Let's actually bring that up, right? The new golf game. What's the new one? Is it 2K? Is it 2K25 PGA? 2 weeks ago.
Thanks for joining us. Our coverage of the final round of the Northern Shore Open begins now.
It may not be the most physically demanding, but golf is not an easy sport to master. Something about the way the body must contort to successfully crank a ball down the fairway takes real skill to put into practice, and for some, it's just not gonna happen the way they imagine. But like few other games can, PGA Tour...
This is the new one, right? The PGA Masters, it's a PGA Master run out as well? The brand new one?
2K25 takes much of the mental work of swinging a club from real life and executes it virtually. It's in-depth simulation gameplay that lets your thumbs and brain do what a stubborn human body simply refuses to do, and it looks good doing it.
Now, they used to make some good baseball games back in the day. EA used to make some good baseball games back in the day.
Looking back at PGA Tour 2K23, it definitely wasn't the worst golf game ever, but
that's not CGI. That's in-game. That's in-game animations is what that is.
Lacked any shine in its personality and gameplay, which came as a surprise at the time considering HB Studios has been dutifully working on successful golf sims like the Golf Club for well over a decade. Couple this with the fact that, unlike most sports games, PGA Tour 2K took 2 full years to put out a new iteration, it was safe to say expectations.
I think it's okay for every other year. I don't think you need a golf game every year. I don't think you need every sport game every year, right? They'd be smart if you were a business, if EA, instead of coming out with Madden every year, maybe you come out with the college one, and then you come out with the football one, the NFL one, and then you come out with a baseball one, right? Obviously, they're not going to do that because that's money off the table. But you diminish, just like we were talking about earlier, you diminish your brand because every year you come out and people are like, it's the same. The graphics didn't get updated. You didn't change the UI. Everything looks the same.
We're in check.
We've got about 110 yards to go here.
It didn't take long for PGA Tour 2K25 to flaunt its improvements, though, especially in terms of appearance. While it still can't quite match EA Sports' rival PGA Tour game head-to-head in their respective visual recreations of golf, the difference is nowhere near as stark as it had been. Player models look much closer to their real-life counterparts, courses are more details, and animations are crisper. The putting and driving animations are also fluid, no longer stopping abruptly after contact or feeling too weighty. Performance is smoothed out as well, and the only time it hitched on PlayStation 5 was due to internet connectivity issues. Yes, even the single-player career mode is always online, so there were a few instances where my shot would stutter, and even a couple of times where a round didn't save at all. The main blemish on the look and feel of PGA Tour 2K25 is the low-energy commentary team of Luke Elvey and Rich Beam. While they're both very knowledgeable and describe approaches and conditions beautifully, their lines could not be more flatly delivered. Golf isn't the most exciting sport, but there's no need to sound like a robot when discussing it.
This is going to challenge players mentally more than physically because the shots they hit aren't always going to turn out in the best of spots.
They also
see, okay, so what he just showed there is, see, when you play a sports game, the announcers are 1,000% part of the game, and you can criticize the announcers if they don't sound like the old school days. There was no announcers, okay, but now the announcers are hand in hand with the video games themselves. Okay, it brings life to the game. When you hear Madden back in the day, remember Madden back in the day when you played Madden football? Boom, he's on his back. Like, that was the announcer. There was no like announcing. Now there's play by play, and what he just showed, the guy's just saying the line, right? The guy's just saying the line, and he's not talking about what's happening on the actual screen. Okay, so when I talk about the baseball game and saying that you missed the point here with the baseball game, not talking like in the old school radio and making it feel more realistic, that's what you want to hear. You want the most realistic thing. And if he's hitting a shot,
no need to sound like a robot when discussing it.
This is going to challenge players mentally more than physically because the shots they hit.
He should stop talking, and they should program the way something it is. Be like, oh, interrupt himself, saying, oh, he's just off the course, and then he goes back to what he's saying. And I understand that's completely, probably really difficult to do, but this just pulls you out of the whole thing because you're not going to care about what they say. Let me go to another one, which is the PGA Masters. Is it called The Masters? Is there a game? 1 month ago, there's a teaser. They don't have that. They have 2023. Do they have a 2024?
Right, let's see if we can boom this down here.
Here, we'll just watch this guy's gameplay.
Oh, that's going to go way left.
This looks 1,000
I don't think
times
it's going to make
better
it.
than 2K.
Oh, it did. Wow, I didn't think I thought that was going to come right into the left-hand trees
This
there.
looks 1,000 times better than 2K.
352 off the tee, that's not too bad, actually. But look at this, this pin position's a
He
killer,
has
especially
the
with that
announcers
wind.
turned down. I just want
So
to
I
see
think
the
I'm going to
visuals
have to
real
try
fast.
and bring this.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn him down. Visually, this is much. EA's got them way better on the graphics. Graphically, much better. This looks way better. Character model, the greens, the controls look good. Is this the one that's on Game Pass right now? All right, let me see if I can go find an announcer one real fast. I want to see if I can find the announcers. Let's see here. If he's not playing in a certain thing, they won't say anything.
Another very nice tee shot. He looks awfully comfortable here with these first couple of drives.
This is last year's, I think. I'm just looking at graphics and what the announcer sounds like. I haven't played it myself, so.
Really hit that second shot on
See, this doesn't sound good
this
either.
par 5, but Frank couldn't get it to stop.
Yeah, too good.
This
too
sounds
long,
better.
Sadly.
With the banter going on.
Frank landed it on the green.
It was never going to stop.
No chance.
It's all right. Yeah, the announcers are 100% part of the game. If you don't have good announcers, the 2K one just completely like negated what he did. This one, you do your thing, they wait a second, then they talk, which I think is better. Robert Jones says, even if the announcers are good, it's corny after a few days. Sure, but it's still part of the feel of the game. It's better that they're there than they're not there. You know what I mean, Jones? If it was just quiet the entire time, that would be awkward. All right. So we got a couple of Ubisoft things here. Let me see. If the embargo lifts at noon, we're at 11 o'clock now. Okay. So let's go with, we'll do the Ubisoft reportedly anti-harassment plan is in place. Okay, then we'll talk about Skull and Bones a little bit because they have an update coming out. Okay. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We just cover news stories, have conversations, get your thoughts. I give you my thoughts. I get your thoughts. All right, so Ubisoft reportedly has an anti-harassment plan in place for Assassin's Creed Shadow developers. Okay, the lead up to the release of Assassin's Creed Shadows has been very ugly, and Ubisoft is bracing for launch day. All right, so it says, with Assassin's Creed Shadows just a few days from release, Ubisoft has reportedly implemented an anti-harassment plan for developers to protect them for potential backlash on social media. Assassin's Creed Shadows has been a target persistent outrage from some corners of the gaming fandom, primarily due to the presence of, Yakuza. Is that how you say it? I always butcher it. A black samurai, which amplified unhappiness with the release of missteps and mixed messages from the company. The game itself looks promising. Our full review will arrive on March 18th, and Ubisoft says pre-orders are tracking solidly, but it still is ugly environment in which to launch the game. We've advised not to post on social media, at the work, or Ubisoft to avoid harassment. One employee told French sites that BFM-TV, Google translated, that beyond that, the company has apparently also worked with Canada's communications security establishment in the country's national cryptologic agency, presumably because Assassin's Creed Shadows is developed by Ubisoft Quebec. It says, quote, it's an initiative from Canada. A source told the site that there's a team of monitors that acts quickly in the event of a target attack. Ubisoft also reportedly has psychological and legal support in place for employees who are targeted because of their association with the game. The activity of social media platforms will be monitored by a dedicated team, backed by lawyers, ready to file complaints where necessary. Unlike, quote, Unlike what we've had before, this is serious, the sources said. This is serious. Dead serious. Dun, dun, dun. It's extremely unfortunate to put this mildest term possible, mildest terms as possible. This sort of thing is necessary, but increasingly is necessary. Targeted harassment campaigns and torrents of random abuse continue to grow in 2023. For instance, the Bungie said Destiny 2 developers were being subjected to ongoing harassment despite a $500,000 win against an abusive fan, just because they worked at the studio. And earlier this year, Square Enix launched a new anti-harassment policy to protect the employees and partners from similar abuse. Here, this is what I say all the time, okay? All the time. If someone is harassing you, social media, okay, put it out there. Blast them, right? Blast the person that says something so stupid it's harassing. Because then if it's harassing, yeah, go ahead, sue. Do the stuff that you need to do. But also put him on blast or her on blast, okay? Because that will stop other people from doing it 1,000%. And if it doesn't, right, then they'll get in trouble as well. But here's what I don't like. They never show the receipts. They never show the receipts, okay? Even if the one person that got sued, despite a $500,000 win against an abusive fan, show it. Show the receipts. But they don't want to show the receipts, right? So a lot of people take, if there is one person that's doing it, and they make it sound like it's millions and millions of people doing it. And if it is more than one person doing it, or just one person doing it, then put them on blast. If someone says something stupid, there's consequences to your actions, okay? But the majority of the population on Earth is not this one asshole, is not the 10 assholes. But yet they focus on that one, or they focus on the 3, whatever it is, right? Especially the ones, I love the people that do news reports. Someone says something, and they have like 2 likes. And they're like, well, Suck My Balls said this. It's like, you're tweeting Suck My Balls, who's got 3 likes, and you're going to promote that to millions and millions of people? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Okay? GDC 2023 State of the Game Industry survey found that 91% of developers believe that player harassment is a problem for the industry. Unsurprisingly, women are more likely to experience abuse from players than men. Have they ever been in a SOCOM lobby? Have they ever been in a Call of Duty open mic lobby? Come on. Stop it. As are members of the LGBTQ plus community. How would you know? How would you know what part of the community they're part of? Our stance has always been that team members' social media channels are their own. Ubisoft said in a statement provided by the PC Gamer, our top priority is safety for our employees, including online, which is why we have started a practice across Ubisoft and we offer guidance in navigating social media. Well, that's good. You should. So you don't have people like Matt Hansen going on Twitter and blowing up your game. Just saying. You should have media training. You should have social media training. Okay, digital safety and support the team members' well-being. We also share resources to help prevent and protect against online harassment, something our team has unfortunately faced. Ubisoft has previously pushed back on some of the abuse, while CEO Guillemot made a fruitless attempt to mollify angry gamers in 2024 by saying the company is, quote, is not to be pushed on any specific agenda. Creative leadership has been rather more forceful about it. In November of 2024, franchise heard that Mark Alexis Cote said developers throughout the industry face a added challenge in discussing between genuine feedback and attacks driven by intolerance. But added, when it's self-centered, in the face of threats, we had to overpower it piece by piece until freedom of creativity both wither away. We cannot let this happen. Here, I have a solution for you. Imagine if a company, I don't know, if they had this position that was called community manager, and that the developers didn't actually have to talk to the actual people that were playing the game, and the people that were playing the game got to talk to just the person in the community management position, and that community management position would then relay those messages, filter out the bigots, racist, and misogynistic people so that those developers didn't actually get to see that type of stuff. Just a thought. Give me 1 second. All right, so they're being forced to be on social media, but they don't need to be on social media. If I'm working, right? If I'm working and these, like, you don't need to be part of the community. Make the game, develop the game, and move on. Okay? You don't need to. So the problem I see here is community managers just need to be community managers. Filter through. You don't need to share the information. Only share the good. Only share the good.
Tim Kaine walks in with a question so
Tell
bold.
me
Do gamers know what they want?
what
He's
you
told.
want.
The crowd says yes, but then starts to fight. Tim shakes his head. Yeah, that sounds about right. Tell me what's good, not what's gone wrong. If you just complain, the list...
Just tell me. These community managers, that's their job. And then these community managers take it, like, personal. If someone comes out and says, Assassin's Creed Shadows is ass, I hate it, go kill yourself, the community manager's like, they attacked me. No, they're just trolls on the internet saying what they are. Just not look at that one. And then someone else comes in and says, oh, I really like your game, but there's a problem with the game. There's, the fighting stances are not right, or I'm dropping through the floor. Okay, I appreciate you. We'll go back and tell the developers what's going on. That's it. Move on. Nope. They have to have a back and forth. They have to go back and forth. They want to, like, have a conversation with a troll, right? And I said this yesterday. Trolls are like fire. They're like an engine, okay? How do you keep a fire going? You got to throw more wood into the fire, okay? How do you keep an engine going? You put more gas in the engine, okay? If you're not putting gas in the engine, which in this example is the troll, if you're not putting fire or wood into the fire, and the fire is the troll or the person that's disgruntled, then it would go out. It'll go out. But they like to amplify it, right? They like to put it and amplify it and show you, hey, yeah, this person, and then they don't show you. They tell you, but they don't show you. 6649er said, go eat shit. Okay, show me that. Show me where that, right? Show me the harassment, right? Because then I could be like, yeah, I see that. You know what? He's an asshole. And then move on, right? Look, there's a very fine line here of what was harassment. Last night we talked about this a little bit while I was playing Avowed. Harassment, if I'm talking to a specific person, like if someone comes in and I'm belittling you because of the way you look, or, all right, most people don't know how they look on social media anyway, but if I'm shitting on your game or they're shitting on my stream or whatever, that's not harassment. If it's a one-off, right? But if it's the same person coming in saying this and this and this and this, that's harassment. You can't harass an entity, okay? If I say Coca-Cola sucks, okay, I'm not harassing Coca-Cola. But if I say Kate whatever at the company and you start saying stuff like that, then yes, that is harassing somebody, all right? But who's to decide what is offensive or not offensive, especially when you're going to lawyers and stuff? They're just going to be like, lawyers want to get paid, right? How many of you guys are lawyers? You guys want to get paid? You'll take cases, right? So it's a very fine line to say what harassment is and what's not. If I'm giving feedback, but I'm very vocal, or I use curse words, doesn't mean I'm angry towards the developer. It just means I'm angry towards the game, right? I don't know. It's amazing to me that instead of putting money into the game to make the game work, God, I hope this game works. This goes for any game that comes out. If you're putting more money into therapists and lawyers and societies to try to help lead with the toxic behavior, instead of just putting your time into an actual game to make a game and sell a game, I think there's your first problem, right? There's your first problem. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe. What do you think about the harassment that, not just for Ubisoft, but just in general, right? Do you think they should do an anti-harassment plan for this particular game? And if they do it for this game, they might as well have another department inside the actual company for all anti-harassment, not just for Assassin's Creed Shadows, but for game launches, okay, in general. Let me know in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. All right, give me 1 second. I'm going to take a short break. I'll be right back.
In my day, games came complete. No battle pass, no DLC cheap. I bought Skyrim once, played all night. Now they charge me just to fast travel right. No day one patch, no pay to win. Now every update feels paper thin. Games had heart, they had a soul. Now it's just about the bankroll. Arkham City made me feel like the bat. Now my heroes locked behind a season pass. Mass Effect 2 with the squad so tight. Now choices don't matter, just click for the fight. Red Dead Redemption told stories so grand. Now we get fetch quests with a map full of sand. Where's the depth? Where's the drive? Just endless updates to keep games alive. They drop them broken, say patch it in. Servers crashing, where do I begin? Once we play till the morning light. Now it's microtransactions every night. Lord, take me back to 2011, when games were polished, man, they felt like heaven. No loot boxes, no late service pain, just a damn good game, man, is that so insane? Take me back to 2011, when games were polished, man, they felt like heaven. No loot boxes, no late service pain, just a damn good game, man, is that so insane? Remember Portal 2 with the story so tight. Now we get content roadmaps that never feel right.
All right. Sorry about that. All right, let me scroll back up and see what you guys are saying here. Let's see. Waterbear says, not everyone cares about the fact that the samurai is black nor female ninja. I only care about because he said he's historically accurate, which matters in this type of game. They're talking about the death threats for this game people have been getting. Great. Show them. Show them, Nate. Blast those people, right? The people that are giving death threats, take their screenshot of their death threat and blast it on social media so we know who the assholes are. Do it, right? Everyone can say they have death threats. I've had death threats. Okay? Early on stage of streaming, people tell me, go kill myself. Right? You're on social media. If you're on YouTube, you've had a death threat. Okay? Show it. Blast those people. Argus says they're trying to spin the narrative to try to block, justify criticism, and just also for the fact that will also be coming out to their product, already setting the stage to be victims as a big-ass corporation. Victim card engaged. Kylo says, so they don't want LGBTQ to be attacked, but there's also Ubisoft disrespecting Japanese cultures. All right. It's amazing. Right? And people just move it off to the side, right? They're like, we don't want to be attacked, but yet they offended almost an entire nation, entire country. Right? Again, I'm from America. I don't know what to be upset about or not because they didn't make fun of me. They didn't dishonor me. Right? Japan's a very honorable country. They respect what their nation and stuff is. Right? All I'll say is coming on out in the game that the features also a protagonist based on factual events, but still work of fiction. Argus says the main complaints aren't even about historical accuracy. It's about the mistakes of the design choices that they made to disrespect Japan's culture, the history, and many times. Right. Rules for thee, but not for me. This is a joke, right? This is not a real thing? No, this is actually happening, Sarge. This is actually happening. The clip says, grow some damn balls. Argus says, along with their reasoning behind choosing for all the Japanese figures is history, for this long-awaited game is setting. We base it off of who they are, and what they say is very telling. What's the bigger joke? Nate says, what's the bigger joke is for the upset over a video game that doesn't affect real life, or doesn't affect real life? It doesn't affect you in real life, right? Again, I'm not going to be the defender for Japan, right? But people in Japan are upset about what the game is. Like, think about this. Disney changes things where they release the movies in certain cultures because they don't want to upset and they want to make money. Imagine that, right? So if there's a kiss scene from the LGBT community in a movie, they'll remove that and put it in to a different place or take it out of another location. Because why? Because they know if they put that in the movie, then no one from that country is going to watch it. That's what they do. So what's the difference here? Why do what you're doing for a game that takes place in Japan, but offend the people or not be historically accurate for the people in Japan and then try to sell the game? Obviously, they're going to be offended. It's just a movie. It's just a book. It's just a video game. Sure, if you have no skin in the game. Sarge says, I know what Mo looks like. I looked him up. He's like a handsome Tracy Morgan. Robert Jones says they did what the companies did around those times, try to make money off of it, but then took too long, so they're releasing the game. Let's see. Just bought 33 Immortals. I'm hyped. 33 Immortals is the one off of, that's the 33 people that are all going after. I did the alpha a couple months ago. That's out now today. House says, Japan is all about maintaining harmony amongst their people. I've heard crime there is so low that it's almost unimaginable for any American. Yeah. Yeah. They're very honorable and stuff there. Very respectable. Probably the most respectable country out in the world as far as just people. But you can't remove a whole main character. I mean, again, it's not about the black character. It's more about the actual thing that's happening in the game. From the seasons to the architecture, for the buildings, from the pictures, from everything that's in the game. And here's a question, right, player? Why is it the first time ever in the Assassin's Creed history did they take a real-life character based off historical accuracy and stuff like that and put him in the game, where no AC before this has ever had a protagonist that was real? They were always made-up characters, but they chose to do this one. Why? Nate says, I'm offended by how they shove the gay stuff in our faces every day in cartoons and even gays so they can force that, but that's okay. But the video game can change stuff without people losing it. But that's not okay for some people, Nate. If you're offended by something with the cartoons and the movies and the books, then don't support those things. Right? You could also word that out and say, I don't support these things because of these things. Right? And more people do that, and then but you become sexist, racist, misogynistic. See, as a customer, not a consumer, a customer, you get to choose if you want to buy something or not buy something. I know it's crazy. So if you don't like something, you can stop watching. You can stop reading. You can stop buying. You can change the channel, change the radio station, change the YouTube channel. If you don't like something, instead of hate watching and playing that game and then disagreeing what's in the game, just don't buy it, right? Just don't play it. And then also vocalize why you don't like it, because that's how game companies learn and go, why did our last game didn't sell very well? Well, it didn't sell very well because people told us why. They told you why. We didn't like the game because of this. We didn't like the game because of that. And then the next game they make, they go, let's try not to make the same mistakes that we did last time. Right? People defended Dragon Age Veilguard and said, oh, no, it's selling well. People called other people chuds, okay, because they didn't like the game, and yet the game didn't sell well. And then those people that lashed back at the other people just expressing their opinions, those people backed off because now they were wrong. Argus says, if you drop your wallet or phone or wallet in Japan, they're almost guaranteed that someone is going to pick it up and run back over to you and return it. Crime is almost non-existent there. What's going on first? Eclipse says, we're not the ones upset. Japan are the ones that are upset. They're allowed to be upset. That's exactly right. I don't know how many times you have to say this. You're saying off of Twitter, right? We're talking about a whole entire nation that's like, we don't like this game. It doesn't put us in the good light. We don't like what you've done to Japan. And everyone's like, it's because he's black. Yeah, you're a bunch of racists. It's like, the country that the game takes place in, they're upset. If every game the main character represented the country being featured, except for this one, correct, but they were all fake characters, right? You never were a historical figure in a game. You were always a character, and then you talk to historical figures in the game. But it's more people here that seem to be upset. No, over here, if you're going by Twitter and you're going by YouTube, you're looking at a bunch of people. Look, when a fight goes on in school, Nate, what does everyone do? Two people are fighting, and everyone's like, fight, 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 fight. That's the internet. That is Twitter in a whole, right? Because it's fun to throw rocks. It's fun when you're anonymous and you can say whatever you want, and it amplifies it. For now, where if I say it in my house, then no one hears me. But on the internet, I have a potential of millions and millions of people, and then they jump on it, and that person jumps on it, and then that person goes back and forth. Robert Jones says American gamers are also upset. Sure. But what I'm saying, Jones, is that everyone's just throwing it off like, oh, it's just a bunch of white guys upset about it. It's because there's a black man in there. It's like, that is not what's happening. Ghostwriter says, it's going to be my new job today with the Hobby Lobby. Not looking forward to the training vids. I have to watch those. Yeah. I remember those days in retail. Gaming Fire says, the only thing I don't like is when the DEI is added to the game, and I don't buy that game. And that's your choice as a customer. Argus says, and yes, for some people, it's because he's black, but there's also context even for that. Exactly. It's upset, but we are the ones that are more upset to think about that you think Japan is upset about anything going on. There's literally articles of the nation. I mean, I don't understand. Argus says, look at the Ubisoft's messaging about this subject after the fact that the show is almost likely was a DEI/woke related design choice. Dub, to throw rocks till you get hit with one. Right. It's fun. It's fun so you get hit with one. That's right. And this is why I said if people are doing something stupid, not everyone's harassing. But if there's someone that is harassing under the definition of harassment, then put them on blast. They're anonymous. There's people with my butthole 21 on Twitter that they show on Fox or CNN or whatever else and go, oh, this person's upset. And everyone's like, oh, what an asshole, right? Like they're taking one person, instead they choose to amplify the negative instead of amplifying the positive. You see what I'm saying? The company is choosing to amplify the negative than to just amplify the good. The game itself, if it's good, will show that it's good. When you take a stance and say we're putting harassment plans in place to help the developers out, shouldn't the game do that itself? If the game comes out and it's a good game, then it'll sell. And if it sells and the people that like the game are going to play the game, and the people that don't like playing the game are not going to play the game. Waterbear says this game is created by French Canadians that didn't do their research on the history of the feudal Japan. This is why people are mad. There's articles of Japan that say that they are pissed. I know, but that doesn't exist. That doesn't exist, Water. Waterbear says it's not the fact that he's black. It's because of the inaccuracies of the game. No, we're more upset about the game of Japan, but we don't think Japan cares about nothing going on over here. That's not true. There's literally articles. Japanese take their history seriously, and if you fuck it up, and the game is also historically accurate, you're gonna get shunned. Eclipse says, "Do we all forget they didn't even show up at the Tokyo Game Show? Why? I wonder why people act like that they're making it up." Yeah. Nate, but that's you liking the game doesn't negate the nation, the country that it's upset about it. Two can be the same. I don't understand why you have to defend what you like. You don't have to defend what you like. Buy the game, play the game. But you're defending what people are upset about because you like the game, because you want to play the game, play the game. But don't negate that people are upset. Not once have I said Assassin's Creed Shadow is going to be a shitty game. Not once. We've never brought it up as it's a shitty game in any way, shape, or form. Right? We talked about the sales and what we think it's going to make because of what's happening. We said about why it's going to get delayed because of what's happening. I said before it even got delayed that it's going to get delayed to next year, and then it did. And then I said it's going to get delayed again, and it did. Okay? Based on the stuff that's going on. If you like a game, play the game. You're not some sort of like hero because you're like, I'm playing the game because I'm not racist or sexist, and I don't care about what they did to Japan. Nobody cares. Nobody cares if you play the game and you like the game. We're talking about the topics of Japan's upset. They said it's historically accurate. It's not historically accurate. Kyle says, I'm just upset for Japan for being upset. Right? Screw Ubisoft. Right? I'm not upset at anybody. I'm reading the news and telling you why they're getting the shit that they're getting shit on. Right. I'm not going to pretend to be upset for Japan. Do I think it's fucked up? Yeah. If I knew the history and I was like a well-educated person on Japan, I'd be like, man, that is fucked up that they did that. Right? But I don't. So I don't pretend to be. The problem here is every country in the world, okay, besides America, okay, has a culture of hundreds and thousands of years. The United States of America is 250, right? And half the people don't give a shit about where they are because we're all a melting pot from all other places. So that you don't feel like you're attached. But when people are attached and they want to wave that flag, they're like, oh, look at these guys. Okay? But then when the other people from other sides of the world love their country and are proud of their ancestries and are proud of the historical stuff, they're like, oh, yeah, they're just blowing it out of proportion. Like, what are we talking about? Yeah, Kraken says, please leave the multi-million-dollar corporation alone. They're doing their best. Yeah, it's so ridiculous. Good game for many, but Assassin's Creed is not the same game anymore. But they try to virtue signal. Look, the last game sold, what, 5 million copies, and it was only like $40. They're downward spiral of the franchise. Look, I hope that Assassin's Creed Shadows is a fantastic game. Hope it is. Okay? It looks like it's in much better form than Skull and Bones. It looks like it's in much better form than Outlaws. Crowded House says Americans just don't respect the fact that most people don't think like us. Sarge says if you're pissed on the country culture, they have the right to be upset, and they hold their culture sacred. That's right. That's exactly right. Kraken says, I can't wait to have consumed boba tea in AC Shadows, which isn't boba tea. Isn't that from Taiwan? Am I wrong there, Kraken? Boba didn't come from Japan. Is that real? Is that real? Is boba tea going to be inside AC Shadows? And it definitely wasn't during... Yeah, it's from Taiwan. Yeah, and it definitely wasn't during the time period of AC Shadows. That's crazy if that's in there. Waterbear says, yeah, boba didn't even come to Japan until recently. That's what I'm saying. Argus says boba tea, 1980s, Taiwan. If boba tea is, I don't know if he's making a joke, Kraken, is boba tea inside AC Shadows? Robert Jones says, if it looks like it fits, they add to the game. Yeah, can you imagine? They're like, yeah, I went to, we're making a game about Japan. I went to a place in Japan, and I bought this thing. Can we put this in the game? Be like, Tim, that's Chinese. Oh. But I went to a Japan store. You went to Little China. Oh. Right? Like, that's the mistakes they've been making. Like the roofs and stuff, right? The architecture, the seasons, you see what I'm saying? If someone made a game about Florida, not that anyone would get upset about this, maybe they would, but if someone made a game like Florida, GTA is, okay, Rockstar is, and there's no palm trees, and there's no Everglades, and they're like, we made a historically accurate game about Florida, and be like, where's the Everglades? The Everglades is a big part of Florida, right? Like literally and figuratively. Be like, it's no big deal. It's no big deal that they made a game about Florida, but they didn't put the Everglades in. People be like, but the Everglades is a big part of Florida. Yeah, it's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. It's just a video game. It's just a video game, right? I guarantee you that Grand Theft Auto put the Everglades in the game. Waterbear says, but if they also have a fucking dragon mount that was also designed from China. What? They have a dragon mount that was designed from China? Stop. Ubisoft said if it's Asian, put it in the game. Samurai and ninja used to ride dragon mounts. Yes, this is included in the historical accuracy of the game. Knowing Ubisoft with the Chinese dragon, they probably even used the version of it the only emperor was allowed to use, usually based on the number of fingers it has. Yeah, doesn't China dragons have like 3, right? And like Japan has 5? Or am I reversing that? Is it 3 for Japan and 5 for China? See, I don't know. I do know some stuff, right? I do know some stuff, but I think I'm reversing that. No, I think Japan's got 5, and China's got 3. I think. Well, maybe it's a video game about Northern Florida. I mean, it could. It could be Roadkill. And the Florida Keys, right? Well, there's no such thing as the Keys. They don't exist. They don't exist. Last time I checked, Japanese and China don't even like each other. Yeah. So imagine 2 nations that don't like each other. Okay? And yet you're confusing the 2 and putting their thing in their place. I'm sure it's not a big deal. Not a big deal. A dragon is a mythical creature. It could be anywhere. China has 5. China has 5 and Japan has 3. Okay. Sarge says, can we just dwindle or dwell on the fact that they formed an anti-harassment plan to combat harassment? WTF? Like, what are we even talking about? But that's what I'm saying. Don't you think you could use that money for, I don't know, better things? Look, I hope, I mean this, I hope that game comes out and it's not broke, buggy, and unfinished in any way, shape, or form. Right? I hope it's not broke, buggy, or unfinished in any way, shape, or form. I hope it comes out and it's a good launch for them, because if it comes out broke, buggy, or unfinished in any way, shape, or form, and they spent money on a harassment crew, now you know why. Z says, we all call North Florida South Alabama. That's not true. We call it South Georgia. That's part of Jacksonville. Jacksonville, we just gave it to Georgia. You can't tell the difference. If you're in Jacksonvile, you're like, are we in Georgia? They're like, no, you're in Jacksonville. I'm like, oh, okay. Now, if you go to the Panhandle, Z, you are correct. It's a South Alabama. Good Papa. $5 super chat. Appreciate you. Says, I know a lot about the culture. I grew up in Asia. I understand what is being done and why many Japanese people are upset. I'm upset because of it. And I understand. I can't feel for you because I'm not from there, but I understand why people would be upset. Right? I can't be upset because I'm not being offended. You know what I mean? I'm just some white boy in Florida, in the United States, and I'm just like, I understand, and they have every right to be upset. Everyone's like, hey, it's just a video game. Just a video game. Why is everyone upset? I think 30 might be a Florida man. I've been here so long, I would be okay with that. I'd be okay with that, Kraken. I'm originally from New York, but I've been here for so goddamn long, I'm a Florida man. Sarge says you start hearing the banjo in the Panhandle. You do. You just get to a certain point, and you're like, you're like, what's that sound? Yeah. Don't think they've dropped yet. Let's see. Nope, not yet. Let's watch this video. We have another video we want to watch. It's about Skull and Bones. Luke Smith, not Luke Smith, Luke Stevens. Luke Stevens has up. Ubisoft is doubling down on Skull and Bones in 2025. Let's watch this, shall we?
Let's turn back the clocks, back to late 2021. At that point, there were a handful of upcoming, highly anticipated big budget games that were coming, and they each were receiving the star treatment, receiving very beautiful cinematic trailers, multi-million dollar mark.
Who defended Skull and Bones? Show yourselves. Show yourselves. Who said it? Who was out here saying Skull and Bones is going to be a great game?
Hitting budgets, and one of them almost certainly seemed that it was going to fail, while the other two seemed like they maybe had a chance. I'm of course referring to Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, a game which was revealed in late 2020 and started receiving a lot more marketing attention in the following years before it launched early last year. The other one was Redfall, which got a full gameplay reveal in 2021, and then our third runner-up live service spectacular was of course
yeah, it was a spectacular 8 to 10 years, 4 reboots, so many delays. Skull and Bones,
a little known game that was announced back in 2017 and had been in development since 2013 or 14. It's not
2013 to 2014 is when it started. Announced in 2017. It was supposed to come out the same time as Sea of Thieves.
Not super clear. And that is, of course, Skull and Bones. Out of these 3 games, all of us thought the one that almost certainly would be dead in the water, forgive the pun, was Skull.
It's a good pun. It's a good pun. I'm going to give Luke Stevens 3 points. 3 points for the pun. Dead in the water. It's a good one. Okay, it's a good one.
And Bones. It was a game nobody really asked for, and it was a game that had been in development hell for ages. And yet, in the year of our Lord, Todd Howard, 2025, there's only one of these 3 still standing, and it's Skull and Bones.
Imagine that. Imagine that. Skull and Bones is the one standing. I did say it would be here for 12 to 18 months. I did say it would be here for at least 12 to 18 months. It's made it to the year. It's made it to the year.
And they're doubling down. They've actually made an update post describing year 2 support and outlining and suggesting how they're going to be.
I said it'd be fixed. I said it'd be fixed in 12 to 18 months. And this is fixing it. So
fixing the game, and we'll get to that in just a second. And this is at a time when Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has been totally abandoned, as has Redfall, and other games like Concord, Sony Bend, the studio behind Days Gone, their live service game, The Last of Us online game, all of those have been canceled and dumped, and yet Skull and Bones is still standing. Now, as I said, I'm going to show you what I think they're doing to save the game and whether or not I think it actually could do it. But more importantly, I'm going to describe to you why I think this is happening and why they're not just giving.
Why is this happening? Right? They've put so much money. This was an obligation game, by the way. They had a obligation with Singapore, I believe, that they got money from Singapore and they had to make this game. And this is why this game made it out.
Up on it, because pretty clearly I don't think they're making money on this game. I don't think there's that many players, but I do think there is a broader strategy here why Ubisoft continues to push this and is not.
I'm thinking the reason they're still pushing Skull and Bones, regardless if it's making money or not, I would assume that most people that are playing Skull and Bones are playing off Ubisoft Plus. I don't have any data for that. I'm just thinking about it is a business sense, right? People that bought it. People that are it's on sale all the time, okay? But if it's on Ubisoft Plus and people are paying $18 a month to play Outlaws or to play Valhalla or Odyssey or whatever, it's another game that's on that platform that's constantly more content, right? They don't want to stop supporting it because it's in the bigger picture, it's brings value to Ubisoft Plus.
Not going to let it just die, but I do want to just say it is kind of refreshing to get a live service game that doesn't just can itself within a few months, or in the case of Concord, like 2 weeks after its launch. Like, they're actually sticking with it and trying to turn it into something that players can connect with, which I respect. maybe.
Or here's another thing, Luke. Maybe the content that they're adding now was content that was supposed to be in the game from the very beginning, but they didn't have time to put it out in the game. So now that it's a year later, year two later, they're adding it in to make it feel like they're still supporting the game.
They get there eventually, but I will give them credit. That is kind of refreshing to see, especially nowadays when, like, just yesterday they announced that Spectre Divide is shutting down, and they're shutting down the whole studio and everything. Instead of giving that game time to kind of evolve and build a fan base, they're just dumping it because it's not worth the risk of losing the money. Whereas Ubisoft is actually sticking with it, amazingly enough. And this game, which none of us thought was ever going to see the light of day, it actually is the last one standing among all of these, which is
real quick. I want to show you the miraculous numbers of Skull and Bones. The miraculous numbers of Skull and Bones. Woo! Those are some big numbers. Those are some big numbers right there. You know what the crazy part is? This is 4 times the amount of Concord. Huge.
Is kind of hilarious. But I hear you. What are they actually doing? Well, they outlined some kind of vague things. So for one, they delayed season 4, which is the end of their year 1 content, and they've shifted some of the timelines around in order to get to their year 2 showcase on April 14th. And they
Ron says, I just downloaded Spectral Divide. Didn't they just cancel that game and close the studio down, Ron?
They dropped this little teaser trailer thing that I can play for you here, where they show a couple of little tidbits, which if you've not played Skull and Bones might not be significant to you. But each one of these shots is intended to communicate something to you. For one, they have 3-mast ships that they're adding.
Okay, so bigger ships. That's a 4-mast ship, not a 3.
These are way bigger than anything currently in the game. So they're going to try to add ships for bigger, I guess, fights and stuff like that, which is going to make sense in a moment when I
Can I get on a piece of land and get around?
Show you another thing. They show you some other stuff. Like here, you can see tentacles in the
Kraken.
water that are massive. This also goes with what we see in the back of this frame, which are gigantic Kraken tentacles and I'm assuming glowing eyes, implying that this year 2 is going to have a new monster update or something where the big bad evil boss in the world that you can encounter while sailing around will be a giant Kraken. That's kind of cool. I like Cthulhu stuff. I like pirate stuff. Okay, I'm paying attention. I'm looking at this. They also are going to be adding like volcanic eruptions, which probably add some sort of environmental effect. And then this shot is the one that has piqued the interest of most of the players who are still sticking around with Skull and Bones, which simply shows a player character standing up and
So they think PvP is coming? So do they think that boarding is coming so you can board other people's ships?
Grabbing a sword. Really simple little reveal, but this jives with something that's been rumored and speculated for a while with Skull and Bones, which is that they're actually going to be adding sword fighting.
See? Yeah.
And like actual player to player combat or player to NPC combat.
That's going to be great. So let's say they add sword fighting. How's that going to work now? Is it instant based? Is it server based? Is it skill based matchmaking based? How is this going to be affected inside the game? Be very interesting to find out.
PvE, I guess.
Is it a game mode within the game?
They're actually going to be adding that. This, if true, is crazy, and I do think is a step in the right direction, and it only further, I think, solidifies why I think they are refusing to let this die, which has to do with another release from Ubisoft later this year. To be clear, in Skull and Bones right now, you just sail your ship around and get in sort of dog fights, but I guess they're with ships. And you fight, you sink the ships, you move on. You can't.
It's like fucking watching bumper boats, man. You would never ram your ship into that. Ramming your ship into somebody is like utter death for you. You know what I mean?
can dock your ship, get off, walk around on land, but there's no combat, there's no PvE or PvP sword fighting or swashbuckling. You just kind of run around on land, grab some chests, go to a vendor or something, and then you hop back on your ship where the primary gameplay takes place. And this was one of the primary frustrations and
Stealth, when is Easter fall on?
Complaints that players had when the game eventually did release was that, like, at the end of the day, what people wanted from Skull and Bones was basically just online co-op Black Flag.
Yeah.
That's the people that wanted this, that's what they wanted.
That's what we wanted for Fallout. And then we got Fallout 76. I just wanted co-op, one other person in the game with me, and then we got Fallout 76.
What they got with Skull and Bones was just a quarter of the Black Flag experience, but bloated and just clunky and not particularly fun. And so it didn't connect with many people. But now it seems that they're actually trying to take steps to add in the stuff.
Let me finish this, Stealth, and then I'll answer your question.
That players actually wanted from the beginning, which that's good. Give players what they want, and maybe they will come and play. It's good. It's a good step. But
it's too late. You can make this game come back 100% and give players. You can make it into. You would have to make it as good as Sea of Thieves is right now, 15 seasons in, to make people come back and play this game. Like, come back. Otherwise, it's just a hopeless cause.
Here's the deal about Skull and Bones. None of the environments, none of the world, none of this was designed for players to hop off their ship and explore. Kind of similar to Black Flag, where except for like ports,
we'll watch the review of that in a second.
And go in, you weren't able to just like hop off the ship and go climb up a mountain or an island or something. It wasn't totally just open-ended sandbox. In the case of Skull and Bones, there are little cities and some places where you can dock and go ashore. But
Nate says it's better than Sea of Thieves. Nate, stop. The game is on life support, my friend. What are we talking about?
In general, it's a game designed for you to just stay on your ship. So my expectation would be that when they do eventually add sword fighting and swashbuckling, they probably are not bringing it just in general everywhere you go. My guess is it will be specifically for when you board enemy ships. So you can like get in a fight with another player and then you kind of, board the ships together and then you fight it out on the deck. And you might...
That's going to be interesting if they add that. It'll be fun, but it's going to bring a whole different mechanic, or I should say, obviously it's a different mechanic, but I'm saying developing-wise, that's going to be interesting to see how that runs smoothly or whatnot when you board someone else's ship, because they didn't have it in the game. If you could board people's ships now, that'd be interesting.
Might be thinking, how is this even possible? Well, apparently this is one of the main staples of Ubisoft's new technology systems within their games.
Okay.
To put it simply, Skull and Bones uses Ubisoft Anvil, which is the engine that's also powering AC Shadows and all of their future projects in the AC franchise. And one of the ideas with that engine is to use something called Ubisoft Scalar Tech, which basically just means that you can have an engine that's primarily designed through cloud infrastructures, so you can update pieces of it without having to fundamentally change whole chunks.
Okay, well, that answers my question, right? So that's basically what I was asking, right? So if putting a PvP into a game that didn't have PvP, putting a onboarding onto the pirate ship that wasn't there in the game originally, that takes a really long time to do. But now he's answering my question, right? They have this software that they can actually implement stuff without changing the entire game. So that's interesting. Let's hear on.
Of the game's backend code. To put it simply, it should, in theory, make it so you can like add in the AC Shadows weather system into another game that's being made with the same engine. You should be able to copy that parkour system into the game fairly easily.
Well, then I would like to add to what I said before. They could be using Skull and Bones not just for Ubisoft Plus to have more value for Ubisoft Plus, but they could be using they could be using Skull and Bones because it's been in development for so long, and because they're using this system that he's saying, that they could use this as a testing ground. You see what I'm saying? Put it into a real-world game that's online all the time, where they can try things out, change things, test it out in a real-world scenario, and then also add that to other games as well later.
So you aren't having to like totally overhaul stuff to make basic changes. You could just bring over the combat system from X game into this game, bring in the Eagle from that game over really, really easily, which previously was not really doable because, you know, all these games were on kind of...
So are they bringing this in because they're redoing Black Flag? And this is like a testing ground for the new Black Flag if they're doing a remaster?
Splinter different branches of the same engine or different engines in some cases, whereas this is meant to totally unify all of the technology together, which should make it, again, in theory, easier to make these broad sweeping changes, to bring combat to a game that didn't previously have sword combat. But this brings me to the other question, which is, Luke, why are they sticking to this? Like, they're not making money almost certainly on it at this point. Why are they pouring so much money into it? I mean,
I think it's because of what I said. Obviously, just my opinion. I think they're using it for Ubisoft Plus for value, and I think they're using it now as a testing ground because it's out there, right? They can test things in the world, see if people like it, try different things, small kind of test.
A couple things we could point to, like maybe it's because they made those deals with the Singapore government where they have like obligations for longer term development cycles on it that they have to fulfill.
That deal, though, was just to get it out. They had the Singapore money. They had to release it.
My understanding is the deal they made with the Singaporean government for government grants and stuff for Black Flag in this case mandated that they release the game in an original IP, but not that they had to necessarily stick with it for extended periods of time.
That might be, though. They might have a deal where they have to extend it. Maybe it was like a 2-year deal, 3-year deal. So maybe they're stuck into that deal. Not only did they have to release it, but 3 years. But we don't know that, so I'm speculating that as I think he is now.
So my understanding is that they're free to abandon it now if they want,
that was my
but they're
understanding
not.
as well.
So why are they sticking to it? Why are they putting so much time and certainly money into what many people consider to be a sinking or already sunk ship? And I think it really just simply comes down to the fact that they're releasing Black Flag Remake probably in the next 12 months, almost certainly later this year. I think their hope is that they can release the Black Flag Remake, people play that, get a taste of what it's like to play a pirate game again. And
yeah, I can see that. I can see them doing Black Flag. People like Black Flag and like, man, this is so good, and then try to bring Skull and Bones up to the level of what Black Flag was, where you can jump on other people's ships and combat on other people's ships and all the other stuff. I can see that happening. I don't see Skull and Bones turning around. I don't want to say never, because I don't really like saying never. I don't see Skull and Bones coming around and being a No Man's Sky. Right? Do I see Skull and Bones lasting 2 years, 3 years? Sure.
And go, oh, I want more of this. And then they have Skull and Bones to offer that experience, at least a sliver of it, in a more long-term solution. And I'm sure they're going to do all sorts of stuff with like bundled promotions. You buy the
real question is, are they going to be putting Godzilla monkey gloves in, or King Kong monkey gloves, or Godzilla tails that you can wear on your ship? Because that's what'll bring people in.
Black Flag Remake, and you get a free like upgrade or...
If I could be a Ninja Turtle, on a pirate ship, well then, maybe Darth Vader, you know?
Or something for Skull and Bones and whatever they end up doing. I think that's probably what their goal is. I think it's a long-term play to try and appeal to those Black Flag players that no doubt are going to play Black Flag again, probably end up really liking it because Black Flag is awesome, and they're going to want another taste of piratey goodness, and they're hoping that Skull and Bones can offer that to them. Does that work though? I honestly don't know. Like, I really just honestly don't know, because as of right now, what Skull and Bones is nothing really like Black Flag, except for some more rudimentary sailing and stuff.
Right.
That, I think, misses out on some of the core things that people loved about Black Flag. But if they're able to add this stuff, if they're able to really build upon...
Graphically, Skull and Bones is beautiful, right? I think they did a fantastic job with that. The fundamental gameplay is so boring and repetitive. Like, I can't even get off the ship to knock down a tree. I got to do a mini game on the ship, right, to collect all the different things.
On what Skull and Bones is now and improve it to the point where it actually offers a good amount of what made Black Flag special, I think they actually could see a significant improvement.
I think if they make this game like a Sea of Thieves, then you have some competition, right? Then then Skull and Bones, and then Sea of Thieves will have this competition. Who's better in that space, right? Skull and Bones can be the Marvel rivals to Sea of Thieves. You see what I'm saying? Like, if they compete, there's not a lot of pirate games out there, especially online pirate games. So if they could bring it up, but man, that's a long shot. That's a long shot for them to come back and revive this game.
In player count and a lot more interest in the game than they're seeing right now. Because right now, the people who are playing it are just people who really, really like the repetitive questing, the repetitive like ship combat, and just doing the same thing over and over and over again. Whereas if they're able to add some more dynamic stuff and some pieces from the Black Flag remake, I think that could be much more appealing and intriguing to people. And this makes all the more sense, especially when you consider that it's been reported and leaked that Ubisoft Singapore, the same team behind Skull and Bones, is the same team that's heading up development on the Black Flag remake.
So there you go. If the same team is making Black Flag remake and they're also working on Skull and Bones, well, then I see that crossover of using Skull and Bones as a testing ground.
Likely because they already have all this experience with pirate ships and the water sim and all that stuff. So while other teams will certainly help on it, it seems that this team that's doing the Skull and Bones work and the Black Flag remake are one and the same, meaning they can just walk across the hall, put some code they need for X, Y, and Z from the Black Flag remake on a thumb drive and walk it over to their desk and put it in Skull and Bones. I know obviously they use servers and stuff.
I got what you were saying.
They can share that tech and that code easily. And so it starts to make a lot more sense, I think, when you consider it like that their goal is basically to release the Black Flag remake and try to get players from that into Skull and Bones. And by that point, they're hoping they have enough new bells and whistles in Skull and Bones that players can get hooked and maybe they can eventually turn a profit on this. Honestly, I wish them the best of luck. I would love to have more piratey goodness. You guys know one of my favorite genres in gaming that I feel is totally underutilized right now is the pirate setting. I think pirates 100%. Are fascinating. I think it works so well with modern sentiments of exploration, the dark and gritty stories you can tell. I think they're so cool, and I love pirate stuff just in general. So I would love a new awesome pirate game. If they could overhaul Skull and Bones into something fantastic, that would be great. I would be so in love with that story of like the comeback from Skull and Bones, all the years in development hell to being awesome. I would love that, and I hope they can do it, but I will believe it when I see it.
God, that would be to go for a 20-year, like let's say it took them 10 years to make the game. It's been out for 1 year. Let's say it lasts 5 years. A payoff if it becomes profitable 5 years into the making of the game, like 5 years release of the game. Like what a long haul for that thing.
Okay, like Skull and Bones is not there right now. I appreciate that they're trying to get there. They're alluding to major overhauls and improvements, and they are doubling down on updates and like year 2 support, potentially year 3 support to try and get this game where it needs to be. And more than anything, I just think that that's, fairly admirable to not let the game die and abandon it, but to actually stick with it and try to improve it into something players actually want. I wish them the best of luck, and if they are able to pull it off, I will be there to play it, I'm sure, but time will tell if they get there. But I want to hear from you guys.
So it's been 1 year. I said 18 months for them to fix it, and it looks like that's what they're doing to bring it back to where it should have been at launch.
In the comments, like if they actually are able to basically just make Black Flag, but co-op, even with like, raiding forts with your friends, and they're able to like overhaul it to that extent, would that make Skull and Bones that much more appealing to you? Would you actually,
if I could play co-op, I would come in 100%.
Consider playing it with your friends if they could get it there? Because I think if they're adding all these systems into the Black Flag remake, there's a non-zero probability they're trying to get all that stuff into Skull and Bones eventually, which would be crazy if they could actually pull that off. So let me know if that vision of Skull and Bones as Black Flag online actually is something that you could get into. Because to me, it doesn't sound bad. Like, to me, that actually sounds pretty cool. They have a lot of work to do to get there, but if they could actually get there, that would not be the worst thing. I could actually see myself playing that because I love...
Like you said, Sarge, if they turn Skull and Bones into the Fallout 76, but for that...
Of Black Flag. So Let me know what you think. And who knows, maybe even if Ubisoft is not the developer to get Skull and Bones there, if you voice your desire for that in the comments, maybe some indie dev or somebody notices that and is like, ooh, we could do that. Let's do it. So you never know. You never know. Voice your opinions down below. But with that, thank you for watching. I love you all desperately. And I look forward to covering Skull and Bones updates in the future. I didn't think we'd get any. I thought that this post would be an announcement of the game's closure and the fact that they were shutting it down and, you know, ending support, but no.
All right. So there you go. All right. So we check out Luke's. Let me actually put his. I think I have the link below for this. I do. Let me put. Oop. Nope. How come it's not highlighting it? There it is. So you can, in the description down below, you can look in on his channel. Go over there, give it a like. Subscribe if you like his stuff. All right, let's go to see what about Assassin's Creed Shadows review. Do they have the reviews up yet or no? I don't see one. Yeah, I don't see it. Only one so far? Is it IGN's? Open Critic? Oh, you're saying that it's review, but not video review, is what you're saying. Got it. Oh, Greg's got a new video. We're not going to watch that now. It just came out about an hour ago. It's got one for the hype train. We'll have to watch that later in the week. Maybe Thursday. All right, what time is it? 12:15. All right, let me go to Twitter. Let me go to Twitter. Let's get the morning scroll going on here. No reviews? I thought the review embargo was done at noon today. Maybe they're just late. I don't think it has anything to do with them delaying it. Towerborn coming, most said it in chat. Towerborn coming to Xbox Game Pass on April 29th. That'll be fun. We'll play that with you guys when it comes out. Helldivers 2 has the next war bond based on real space cowboys. Kuda Papa says, Game Rant has a review up, but when I click on it, it's 404ing. Interesting. Maybe it's 1 o'clock, not 12 o'clock that it's supposed to come out. I love how they always ask you to pre-install stuff now. Like it's a month away. You want me to load something on my hard drive that I have less space on? Like, get out of here. I mean, obviously they want to know like the pre-orders, right? They want pre-orders or pre-installs to see what they got. Hell Let Loose has got an upcoming roadmap. Hell Let Loose, upcoming roadmap, upcoming content. This year in Hell Let Loose, we continue to evolve and grow. The next 4 major updates include the addition of 2 brand new maps, a refresh of Stalingrad, powerful new vehicles, thematic cosmetics, DLCs, and quality of life improvements, bug fixes, and much more. So you got new map, Eastern Front, map refresh, Stalingrad, new vehicle, new cosmetics. Let's see. Upgrades. You got weather variations, reward systems, XP reward systems, flamethrower, Retcon version 2, audio and visual effects, precision strikes, artillery systems, armor systems, medic roll, bipods. Quality of life improvements increase the server controls, admin camera, user interface, fixing LOD issues, VoIP post-match changes, and much more. So there you go. "33 Immortals" is up in is out now. You guys can check that out. I would play that tonight, but we're still playing Avowed, so that'll be on the back burner for a bit. At least on stream, anyway. That'll be another game we can play with chat. I don't think that's out yet, though, Sarge. Is that out for the... It's a roadmap. It's not out yet. Oh, this starts on Friday the 21st of March, so it comes out the 21st of March. Today is what, the 18th? Yeah. Excuse me. Let me see what else is going on here. Here you go. What did we talk about? What did we talk about announcing before season 1 comes out? They make a season 2. Amazon's God of War TV series has yet to premiere, but already lined up for 2 seasons, according to the showrunner. I hate this. I hate when companies do this. Okay? They start talking about season 2. Season 1 hasn't even come out. We don't even know when the show's coming out. But they're already talking about season 2. It's like, please let the show speak for itself. Just let it speak for itself. Let season 1 come out before you announce season 2. Game Rant released it? Okay. I still don't see it. Oh, Game Rant's for the video. For article. Yeah. I want a video. Probably won't get the videos. All right, so let me go to Game Rant. I don't even see their. I don't see the review. Yeah, I don't see it. Nate says 9 out of 10. I'll take 9 out of 10 is what's going to be across the board. GameFire says they had to take down and probably re-release it at 1 p.m. That's what I'm figuring. August says I don't trust mainstream outlets, to be honest. Not to be heavy because of social norms of pressure. Yeah, I'm looking for like Skill Up's review or someone else's review like that. ACG. Discord DMs. Right. Oh yeah, it's still. That's 4:04. Oh, it drops in 30 minutes. 1 o'clock. Okay. I think we'll just watch the video tomorrow. Yeah, because my son's off from school. Here's the thing. I just looked up AC Mirage's scores. Right? And the reviews there were 8s. 8 out of 10. But guess what? That game only sold 5 million copies, which is the lowest Assassin's Creed's ever been. Do they have a list of so many Assassin's Creeds, man? Jesus. All right, so here, I'll bring this up. All right, so 20 we'll stop that. 20 Assassin's Creed's on here, right? I think this is all, I don't know if these are all their games, right? So Watch Dogs, The Crew, Assassin's Creed. So obviously Mirage won't be on here, but this is from their right. Assassin's Creed 2 sold 10 million, right? For Honor 10, Watch Dogs sold 10, The Crew sold 10, Assassin's Creed Unity sold 10, Far Cry sold 10, Far Cry 3 sold 10, right? Dedicated fan base, man. Far Cry 6 sold 10. Tom Clancy's Division sold 10 million copies. Assassin's Creed Origins sold 10. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wild sold 10. Watch Dogs 2 sold 10. Assassin's Creed Odyssey sold 10 million copies. Assassin's Creed 3 sold 12 million copies. Assassin's Creed Valhalla sold 12 to 15 million copies. Prince of Persia, 14 million. Sands of Time, 14 million. Assassin's Creed Black Flag sold 15 million copies. Tom Clancy's Division sold 15 to 20 million. And Far Cry 5 sold over 20 million. The last Assassin's Creed game that came out, which is Mirage, sold 5 million copies. I'm trying to get a list here to show all the Assassin's Creeds, but there's not a dedicated list that I can find. Let's see here. This is from Reddit. Okay. So this is first week sales. Right? Here's a list of first week sales of Assassin's Creed. Okay? And I think it'll do about this the first week. This is what I think it'll do the first week as well. Assassin's Creed Shadows. So going from Creed all the way down to Mirage, 1.24, 3.27, 2.15, 2.22, 3.52. Okay? Assassin's Creed 3. Right? That's the king right there. Assassin's Creed 3.52. Then 4 goes to 2.36, 2 million, less than a million, 1.5 to 1.7, Odyssey 1.4 to 1.5, Valhalla 1.7, and then 1.4 to 1.7. So that's the first week sales. Okay? Here's the first 4 months. Okay? Assassin's Creed 5 million. Assassin's Creed 2, 9 million. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, 7. Revelations, 7. Creed 3, 12 to 13. Creed 4, 11 to 12. Assassin's Creed Unity, 9 million. No data on Syndicate. Origins, 6 to 7. Odyssey, 5 to 6. Valhalla, they don't know. Right? And then Mirage got 5. I see, based on just the verbiage that's happening right now, where the temperature is with the game, I see it doing around what this is doing right now, Mirage. So in 4 months, it'll have about 5 million units. 3.5 to 5, I say. Let's see what you guys are saying here. If Scale Up says it's bad, it's bad. No, that's not how I look at reviews. That's not how I look at reviews at all. We don't look at main media because it's proven that they're paid for. Right? Not to say that Scale Up's not paid for either. But this is why we look at like ACG. This is why we look at Skill Up, because most of the people that give reviews, they actually give reviews of the game. They don't give a review of, well, this is an Assassin's Creed game, so it's good. They actually talk about the gameplay, like the story. They talk about everything in a review. I don't look at reviews and go like, oh, he likes it, so I'll like it. That's not what I do. All right, so it looks like they're going to come out at 1 o'clock, which is fine. We'll just do it tomorrow. We'll just look at the videos tomorrow. I think that's going to do it for me today. Appreciate you guys very much. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We'll be back tonight for some more Avowed tonight at 30 and Still Gaming on the gaming channel. Other than that, appreciate it very much. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Daily Grind. If not tonight, on 30 and Still Gaming. Make sure you go check out our other channel, Nerding with 30. We have videos over there doing uploads for. I did a video about why the new characters don't sell as well as the old characters in Marvel. So go check out that video. Let me know what you guys think about that type of version of video. It did a little bit different than I usually do. Appreciate it very much. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Sunshine, rise and shine. The daily grind is here on time with gaming news and fun galore. We'll chat and entertain once more. The coffee's hot, the mic is on. Jump in the chat, let's have some fun. From pixel small to stories grand, we bring the magic to your hand. We're nitty, tune in daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning fix. Controller ready, headset too, we've got the updates just for you. From late night streams to morning plays, we cover gaming always. Controller ready, headset too, we've got the updates just for you. From late night streams to morning plays, we cover gaming always. Laughs and news, our winning blend, the show with you, our dearest friend. Comments rolling, chats arrive, the daily grind, 5-star vibe. Tune in daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning fix. Good morning, sunshine, rise and shine. The daily grind is here on time with gaming news and fun galore. We'll chat and entertain once more. The coffee's hot, the mic is on. Jump in the chat, let's have some fun. From pixel small to stories grand, we bring the magic to your hand. Tune in daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning fix. Come on in, your morning